Hey everybody, and welcome to the Pink Riot Comic Show. It's your girl Keisha, aka Hot Havoc, and I am here with my amazingly, brilliantly, talentedly, amazing co-host, Brie. How you doing, babe?
I'm doing good, girl. Today's a good day. I got my
Yes,
clackers back. They're
they sound
very
fresh. The
yes,
pack is very fresh today.
they're giving Bratz vibes. I'm here for it. And
Love
we're
it.
rocking the merch. I'm gonna start giving the merch its due. You feel me? So yes, it's your girl,
Yes,
Brie, aka the Variant Vixen, in the building, rocking my Pink Riot hoodie. Cause we got special guests today, and you got to cut up a
yes,
little when
we
we got
do.
special guests. So yeah, I'm doing good. How are you, my love?
I am doing really good. I was able to go to my comic book shop today. I got everything. I talked to them. I've always talked, but I really talked today, which was
Yeah,
very exciting.
check you out. Outside of your comfort zone.
Right?
Was it to do with the curation that you have coming up, or was it something else?
It started on that, and then we
Mhm.
were just griping about how if you're trying to start a comic book run and you're trying to read something, they make it really difficult to figure out where to start in something that's been restarted over and over and over. So
Yeah,
yeah.
facts. As an X-Men fan, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I feel that. But that's a good thing. Like, I love that low key. I'm so proud of you for taking that step because I know that you'd be like, I'm minding my business, just run me my pre-orders usually. But as someone
Yeah.
who keys with the entire Cape and Cow staff every time I'm in the building, I love that for you because it makes it a more like community fun
Yeah.
outing. Like, what's that song? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. That's me at the comic shop.
I can't.
And they know my name
I'm
because they be like, let us go get this mountain of pre-orders that she got in the back. But we also kiki a little bit. So I love that you're like building that at your local comic shop.
yeah. Like they know my name, but they also know I'm like you said, I'm in and out. I'm like
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally
it's just
fair. But
yeah.
yeah,
I'm like, we have an exciting show today. We have 2 interviews tonight, which
who are
is
we?
amazing, right?
What is 2026?
And tonight is going to be the start of our Megascope series, which I'm so excited about. So I'm gonna ask you to start and just give everybody a little bit of context on why we started this Megascope series and just how important it is to us and the beginning of Pink Riot.
Yeah, yeah. So that's like nuts to say. So for one,
Right?
I would be remiss not to say that this is literally like the peak of the start of our Delulu really taking root and taking effect and taking us where we want Pink Riot to go
Fact.
because the origins of Pink Riot is really like our friendship. So obviously it's like built on that, which I love. But our friendship was built on our equal love, respect, and admiration for Black storytelling, specifically in comics. And you can't really have or appreciate an Afrofuturist lens if you can't appreciate where you came from. So it's
Yes.
important to look both ways. And Megascope, that's literally what it was founded on. The concept of Megascope was coined by, was it W.E.B. Du Bois?
W.E.B. Du Bois, yeah.
Yeah, and his concept of this device that allowed you to look forward and look backward at our experience. And so it's just like coming across those stories and then finding out that that's what the origin was for Megascope was really just mind-boggling. I'm pretty sure you know about it before I did, but it's funny that like we both had different comic book origin stories but kind of found ourselves leaning towards the same stories anyway cuz
Mhm.
obviously its founder, the John Jennings, is the founder of this whole Megascope concept within Abrams comics art. And my first introduction to him was a chat that he was doing virtually with Nalo Hopkinson
Oh,
about
yeah.
Afrofuturism. and he spoke about that whole thing, and it really just catapulted my curiosity about what I'm reading and what it's really trying to say and where I'm going with it. So y'all should see, like, you see us Kiki, but y'all should see Keisha like really get in her blurred library bag and wax poetic about like what, you know, what our futures could look like if people had the right access, the right education, the right resources, the right community. And I just remember her like,
Small plug, go to the website,
facts.
theblurlibrary.com.
Literally, actually check her out. Like, not even a small plug, shameless plug. Like, pull up because she's doing the work over there in a number of ways. But seeing that come from her was really when I went like, wow, like not only do I look at her as a friend, but I admire her as a scholar. And it made me want to change the way that I approach reading and enjoying media in general. And then when she was like, not about that, obviously, but reciprocated the appreciation for my vibes, it was like, you know, we should just
We should do
and
this.
we should do this. We should make this a thing. So yeah, it's crazy that Megascope has its origins in us becoming this version of Pink Riot that you see today. So when we decided to actually do this for real, that was one of the first ideas that we had, like, yo, we have to be a part of what they're doing over there. And we both
Yeah.
are so passionate about it. We feel like we could be like good representation or faces of the brand to help get it to where it belongs. Cause right now it's like one of the most slept on gems in
It
comics right
is. Not enough folks are paying attention to the stories that are on this imprint, and
now. Yeah.
they've all been bangers. Every last one has been
Every last one.
bangers.
Yeah.
And so just to like piggyback off of what you're saying, like we want everybody to just see the greatness that's coming from this imprint and just see how important it is for our community and for everyone to pay attention to these stories.
Yeah.
Because now more than ever, we're in a space, we're in a time where we need folks to understand what has happened in past, see the patterns, and then, you know, as you figure out your role in the revolution, like, you know, if you can just reimagine new worlds, it's going to take, you know, these kinds of stories to reimagine what we can do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Even if your role is just sharing these stories, you know what I'm saying? Putting it in as many people's hands as possible. So, you know, we're out here doing our part. But we pitched this idea of working with these creators to John Jennings, and he has been just a gem and really like a springboard for Pink Riot to like grow and build as a whole. And he's believed in us from the jump. So he was like, oh yeah, you know, I support this, what you're doing, how can I get involved? And now here we are. So we reached out to all of the creators who have contributed to their respective Megascope titles, and we will be bringing them to you live on the Pink Riot Comic Show to share about their respective titles and kiki with us a little bit so we can build community and spread the word about these titles and hopefully get y'all to read some really cool stories, because outside of all of that mission, like Keisha was saying, not a single one has been amiss. So we're excited to get these in your guys' hands and libraries and have you requesting them at your libraries.
My expectation is that everyone has the same set that we have, which is the entire line.
Yeah.
The entire line. Okay.
Yeah.
That is
Because
my expectation.
these are some smexy hardcovers, but we will talk more about that. We like got to get these folks in here because we got special guests waiting in the wings. Our first guests are the creators of Across the Tracks. Like, what an iconic title to start with. Like, what are we even talking about? So let's get them on in here, guys.
We're gonna welcome to the show, Alverne Ball and Stacey Robinson. How are y'all doing tonight?
I'm beautiful, so thank you for asking.
Yes.
Yeah, great. I'm doing wonderful. What a wonderful intro. Thank you for that. that was beautiful.
Oh,
thank you.
Before we get started, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna need me a Pink Riot hoodie.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey!
Absolutely. You ready to riot? We got you.
Yes.
Yeah, I need that to go with my mustard scarf or get my color theory on.
Period. So
Yeah.
we got the yellow one rocking. So if that's your vibe, period.
Okay. All right.
That's what's up. Yeah, no, we're so excited to have you guys here. Especially like to kick things off, because this was actually the first Megascope title that I read. It was gifted to me by Abrams Comics Art, and I have bought this now 8 times because I got a lot. Actually, I have nieces and nephews. I have other people when I've done giveaways and stuff where it's like, oh, how can I get into comics? It's like, well, what are you into? It's like, oh, you actually don't matter what you're into. You're black. This is one of the ones you get. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I love it. It's awesome because it's like it's easily digestible, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, and it's entertaining. The art style is provocative. It gives you like a little bit of everything, and it's not preachy. It makes you feel like you're a part of this community, whether you
A
really
part of
are or
the
you aren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. It's really and truly well done. But before we get into the specifics about the title, we're so happy to have you here. And one thing that we love to do with all of our Pink Riot guests is to hear from you. What was your comic book origin story? So we kind of just gave y'all a peek into what our Pink Riot comic show origin story, like how did it come about? How did we get together? So I want to hear from you. What was your personal origin story getting into enjoying and reading comics, and also what was your origin story getting into and creating comics?
You want to go first, or would you like me to go
Whoever
first,
wants to
Stacey?
go first, so I'm not picking on anybody.
Right.
I'll go first.
We'll go in alphabetical order. How about that, Alverne?
Nice.
All right. So, how I started, I guess, how I got into comics. I used to have to take, used to go to this very magnet school, up north in Chicago called Whitney Young, and I used to have to take like 3 buses to get there or whatever. But I remember one day I missed the bus, and I used to see these comic shops. Um, every time we get off, as I'm passing, and one day I missed the bus and decided I'd walk, and I started walking by a comic shop, and I decided I was gonna go in, and I went in and kind of just got hooked. But but before that, I should say, I walked into a Toys R Us because it was a Toys R Us like right down the street, and I had picked up this action figure which was by McFarlane Toys. It was a Spawn figure, and I flipped it over and it said based on the comic book, and I wait, there's a comic book with these awesome characters in it. And I was like, and so I had to find this comic shop, and I went in and I asked them for Spawn, and they gave me like whatever issue it was. And then from there, the guys that were in the comic shop kind of opened me up to all this other stuff. And it was right as Cliffhanger was coming out. So I was like just instantly hooked. And I was like, okay, I gotta read comics. And I read them secretly for a very, very long time.
Not the secret blurted, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
But it be like that though. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just saying it be like that. I love that your introduction was something like, I just want to play. I'm interested in this. And we literally were just talking about, well, Keisha was mentioning how she was talking with the person at her comic shop about how it's difficult to hop into the story. So that's crazy that they literally like, here's the latest issue. Like, I'm sure it wasn't an issue 1 and you just were like, yeah, let's get into it. Let's get active.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like the comic shop owners are, a moment ago, like Bree, you were singing the theme song, the Cheers, right? Yeah. Everybody knows your name. They're always glad you came, right? The comic shop owners are like that. They're in many ways, they're like our therapist, like seriously, right? Like, and for me, that was that kind of is my origin story. My first love is animation, which is actually something I'm just getting back into. Yes. And I was introduced to comics by my uncle, who is about 5 years older than I am. Mm-hmm. And so I would always go in, I would look at his comic books. I lived with my grandparents for a year, so I was reading his comic books. And when my mom and I moved away from there, he gave me a stack of comic books, and those were my intro to comics. But I remember talking about the comic shop owner being your therapist, right? Or the person you confide in.
Yeah.
When I wanted to draw comics. Ever since I got comics, I wanted to draw comics.
Yes.
And we're talking about like age 10 or so. I think I wanted to draw comics. And I remember I got it in my head one day, as like, this was probably around age 15 or 16, that there were no Black comic book artists. And I remember going into the comic shop depressed.
Oh.
And this is Earthworld Comics, Albany, New York. Shouts out to my man JC, the comic shop owner. He has passed away a few years ago, but I love like telling this story. And I remember like walking into the store, and he's like, "Stacey, what's wrong?" You know, I was depressed. I was just like, I just was looking down. He's like, "Stacey, what's wrong? I never see you like this." And I'm running through a scenario in my head. I'm like, am I going to tell this white guy, you know, he was like, is he going to care? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he might find out something real quick. Yeah.
Right.
But here's the thing. I did tell him. I was like, you know, JC, I was like, I want to draw comics. He's like, but there are no Black comic book artists. He was like, dude, what are you talking about? He was like, do you know who Mark Bright is? I was like, yeah, he drew Iron Man. He's working on Emerald Dawn. Yeah, I know Mark. He's my favorite comic book artist. He was like, did you know he's Black?
Oh,
I love that.
30 seconds. In 30 seconds, this man changed my life. And I have, you know, since then, I have lived an amazing life. As an illustrator, as a professor, honestly, I haven't drawn enough comics, right? Not enough comics, but that man changed my life because he took the opportunity to tell me something he did not have to tell me, right?
right.
Me trusting in him and telling him my problems of the day, right? And him taking a moment, right? Knowing my name, being glad that I came, right? All of those things. And he changed my life because he took a moment to care about planting that seed in my life, right? So that's kind of my origin story, in part.
Ooh,
I love
that
that.
is peak. That is so peak.
I love
I love
that.
that
'Cause,
too, yeah.
yeah, like he was able to, especially something race related. Like typically a lot of folks, you know, a lot of us walk into comic shops not always feeling welcoming, and for him to like do that for you is beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah, shouts out to JC. Shouts out to Earthworld Comics, Albany, New York.
Also,
That's
shout
dope.
out to that original creator, because that's just another peak example of how representation is so important, because you
Yes.
went from like being down about it, and I love that your initial thought was like, well, I want to do this, but you know, nobody else did it. So you were already like had it in your mind, this is something that I want to do. It just didn't feel as tangible. And then you find out one of your favorite artists is also Black, and then that like probably boosted you like a solid 80% to, yeah, I can do this, like, because I've
I
seen it.
bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can you imagine, like, and I'll be honest, I have no idea how I got that thought in my head. But as we're talking about representation, right? Because we're going to talk about that tonight, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
And why representation matters. So when you would see comic book artists in the back of certain comic books, at least in my day, there were very few comic book artists. And the pictures that you saw, none of them were Black that I saw, right? So if you don't see it, you are left to assume that it does not exist.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
because if it did exist, why would they not show that? Like, we trust our media, right? We trust, why would our government lie to us? Why would our media lie to us? Right? We
That is
trust
a
it,
question, right?
Did
right? We
anybody
trust
ask
it
you that
until we
question?
learn
Like,
not to.
let me give you this.
Right.
Yeah, like we trust our parents. Our parents told us Santa Claus existed, Tooth Fairy existed, right? we trust them, and then our hearts get broken when we learn differently, right?
And
So
we
it's like
find the toys in the closet. Yep.
yeah, we trust by default. So shouts out to those people who are honest in our lives. I'm done talking. This isn't my interview. I'm sorry. I'm not hosting the show.
No, you guys are doing great. Literally, the whole goal is asking about the origin stories, to hear these type of stories. What we've learned across the interviews that we've done so far, nobody's stories are exactly the same. They may like start with the same sort of core, but the way that like the passion or the interest bloom usually sprouts from something else. So that's why we love to ask that question. And so now that we've heard your origin of like how you got into comics, what was your origin story that got you into creating comics?
Whew. I think it had for me, how I came about comics was that I probably read them for about a year. Again, I got into comics very late. I got into them when I was about 16 years old. So
late?
Oh, that's not late.
very
Right?
late.
That's
no,
nah, that's
you're
not.
doing great.
Yeah.
So I got into them and I read them for about a year. And after a year, I decided I think I can write these. I've been reading them enough. I think I can write them. And then at the time, there were no how-to books. There were no, there was no, the internet was just really taking off. And so there was no repository for how to do this thing. And so I just decided to one day pick the, I've always told stories, but I just decided I was looking through a comic and I would literally analyze every page. I counted every word bubble and until I had it down to a science. And then I told a friend, I think I'm going to write a comic. And I just started writing it and trying to figure out how to do it. And I think what inspired me, there was this book that had come out around the same time where I don't know who it was released by, but it had interviewed like Todd McFarlane, Garth Ennis, Mark Silvestri, like all the guys at Image kind of thing who were hot at the time. And one of the things that had captured me was that Garth Ennis talked about his writing process and about how he wrote and how he did these outlines and the margins of the notebooks. And when I opened my notebooks, I had been doing that even before I knew it. And so I was like, oh my God, he does the same thing. And I was like, okay, I gotta write, I gotta write a comic. And the first comic I wrote was based on a story that my mother told me when I was like 6 years old about the fall of Lucifer. And that became like the first thing I wrote. And it was like, then it was like off to the, as they say, off to the races from there for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna come through with the ill content. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you still have that comic, that first one? Is that like somewhere in your home to look back?
Yeah. It was called Gideon, and it was the first thing I ever wrote, and I think I wrote like 14 issues of it, and I produced maybe 4 out of that 14. So yeah, I still have it.
Wait, so is that still available somewhere to get now? Or if it's not, can you like share in your stories or something?
Yeah. I actually plan on putting it all because I've got like, I think 9 of those issues done out of the 14. Hey. So I keep compiling it and planning to one day just put it out.
Well, you know what our email address is here at Pink.
Yes.
That's so cool. I love that, especially when we hear that like the people who've known forever that's what they wanted to do. Like we've heard some crazy stories about like comics book stories that got written when people were, like little kids and stuff like that. So that's very peak that you still have it, and we are looking forward to seeing some of that.
Yeah, definitely.
My first comic, my first comic publication work was, and it was early 90s, and I was working for a local Black operated newspaper called What's Up newspaper. It was WHAZUP, What's Up newspaper. And I was the art director, which means I did illustrations and some logo headers and things like that. And the publisher asked me if I wanted to create a comic strip. And I did it for a few issues. It was, I don't know how many issues I did, but there are people who have those issues. Like this came out 30 years ago, over 30 years ago. I think I have every issue in my collection.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not the greatest work at all, but it's my origin. It definitely is my origin stuff. My first comic book was a comic book. I produced it in 2006, titled Abraham the Young Lion. It is still available on Indie Planet.
Okay.
And I produced a second issue that came out in 2008. And life took off and it was really different. And I realized that creating single issues was not my format. I need to create books. I should make trade paperbacks. I should just make a graphic novel,
Yeah.
complete an
Yeah.
entire story, and be done. Because my life is there's so many other things that I do with my art practice. I'm an exhibition artist. I'm a professor.
You're a DJ.
I'm a DJ. I do a lot of other things. All of them I love. So I've learned that monthly books or single issue books is not a good format for me. And that book, Abraham the Young Lion, is a book I plan to finish, but I really wanted to create a proof of concept, prove to myself that I could create a book. And at that time, that was the format. Creating single issues was the format in the Black comics world. But the story was beyond my level of intelligence. I actually needed to, in order to finish the book, I needed to study a lot more about world history because of where I planned for the story to go.
Mhm.
And I needed to understand how to complete that story and how it would be a successful and logical story that could happen. And I feel like I'm just getting to the point now, where was it 15, almost 20 years later after dropping it, literally 20 years later this year after dropping that book, that I'm in a place of maturity and intelligence where I can complete that story. So, and that character has had a type of resurgence. The independent Black comic book community has found that character, and they've been drawing it and bringing up this book and say, "Hey, what about this character? Anybody know about this character, the creator?" So it's been nice to see Abraham the Young Lion come back into public eyesight.
Nice.
Yes. I love that. Just like knowing that you have to wait for when you are ready for the story to like happen. Like I
Mhm.
absolutely, I can't wait to read it now. I kind of want to like take a
Actually,
second.
I'll say this really quickly. I actually recently had a talk with John. He talked to me about the book, and I was like, you know what? I was just thinking I was going to talk to you about this. I was like, do you think this would be a good title for Megascope? John and I, that is my best friend and collaborator, right? For I don't know, past like 15 years almost. And we often complete each other's thoughts. So he'll come to me with something that's like, I was actually about to call you like in 3 minutes to talk to you about that very same thing. So we've talked about Abraham the Young Lion maybe having a home at Megascope, because he did mention he wants to publish some superhero books.
He did, yeah. Ooh, that's gonna be exciting. But I feel like that's a great segue into talking about Across the Tracks, because if in the preface you both talk about how you both called John around the same time, talking about how you needed to write this story. So I guess I wanted to ask you to tell everybody, like, how did you guys decide to create Across the Tracks?
Oh, I think in some ways it's destiny or kismet. Because John always tells that story about how I was sending him an email, and he was saying, I think he was on the phone with Stacey at the same time, or just received a text, and we were talking about doing something for the centennial of this event, and I think at the time I had just written a treatment and a script for a show, about Greenwood and everything that had happened, and within that space of time of both of us, like two ships in the night, talking to John, he goes, "I just heard from Stacey. I just heard from you. Do you guys want to do a book together?" And I was like, I had heard Stacey's name, but I'd never met Stacey before, and so I was like, sure. Are you sure? And for me, I'm always like in the background of things. So I was just like, are you sure you want me? I know I was talking about this, but I was just talking about it like as an idea. And then John calls me up. He goes, "Yeah, so can you start writing something? Give me a pitch." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll write something as a pitch." And I think within 24, 48 hours, he goes, "Pitch approved. Can you start working on the script?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And then just as we talk about this a lot because I say kismet, because just as I started writing the script, COVID hit, and I had COVID, and I couldn't write. I've never really been sick any time in my life. I've never had the flu or anything, but this COVID thing had me feeling like I was gonna die. And so every morning I would wake up and I could only write for like maybe 2 hours. And I would write from 9 to 11, and then I'd be out for the rest of the day. And somehow, in a fever pitch, I don't even remember writing this thing. I just remember turning it in and telling John, "Okay, I'm gonna go back to bed." And then the next thing I know, COVID's over, and Stacey's reaching out to me, goes, "Hey, I want to talk about the script that you wrote, Across the Tracks." And I'm thinking, dude, I'm so sick. I'm still just getting over this thing. I don't want to talk about this. And so we get on the phone, and the first thing that amazed me about how things came together, as me and Stacey start talking, we're both talking about blues and jazz. We're not even talking about the story elements yet. We're just talking about music and how it makes us feel. And I'm like, "Yeah, I listened to this when I was writing this." And he goes, "I'm listening to the same thing you listening to." And so then it became like, wow, we're on a synergy that we didn't even realize we were on.
Yeah.
And I'll let Stacey pick it up from there.
No, this is why you need two people, or maybe sometimes three people, to tell a story. I don't even remember that conversation, but I believe having it, because I talk about what I listen to while I'm making work all the time. And it's like, oftentimes what I'm listening to is documented in the style in which I'm creating work. So I can look at my work and say, "Oh, I remember I was listening to Jay Dilla when I made this. Or I was listening to John Coltrane when I made this," right?
That's
Yeah.
wild.
And so just a little bit about this, like everything that Alverne is talking about, this was in 2021, right? It was the anniversary of the massacre is in June, the end of June, right? And so we're having a conversation. The book was approved. Shouts out to John for even approaching his editor. Approaching the editors about the book, because once he said, "Hey, this is the centennial of this massacre and the survival of this community," the publisher was like, "We have to do something." So I like to shout out the publisher because they didn't have to approve the project, right?
Yeah.
But the production of this book, and the reason I'm talking about the dates, we were well into the year, and we had to, of 2021, we had to knock out this book, and we did 45 pages, 50 pages of this book we knocked out in 45 days.
Wow.
And Alverne had COVID, right? So he wrote this script with COVID. As soon as it was approved, the day the script was approved, I started working on it, drawing the first sketches, and laying it out. It was a whirlwind of productivity, and a lot of very fortunate circumstances. I was on leave, on a fellowship leave from my teaching responsibilities. And so I had the time to produce this book. Had I been teaching a regular schedule, I don't know how I would have produced that book. It was a lot of late nights and early mornings, penciling, inking. Um, I had color assistants. I hired a former, shouts out to Alex Batchelor, who she was an undergrad when I was in grad school at the same school, SUNY Buffalo. I hired my son and another former student, Anthony Mancada. These folks helped to color the book and help produce this book while I was drawing and inking. And it was a lot of work. So much so that even during that time, I wish I could have
Right.
gone to Tulsa. Yeah. So in talking about the publication, like the some of the strategies that we used in that book, if you notice, it's a lot of flat color.
I
Right.
was gonna ask about like the colors, talking to you about the color theory because there is a lot of like blues and purples and reds
Oh,
and
Stacey.
yeah, and I'm like the blue reminded me of like Haint blue, and I was like, oh
Ah,
my
yeah.
god,
Hmm.
but
So
like
look,
it's
This was my favorite page.
let me see. Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah. That's what mine said.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. So I will say this, right, and Albert, and I'll let you jump in too. Um, we're talking about the destruction of a Black affluent community because this community was forced into segregation, and whenever we were segregated, we always prospered, right? More so than our neighboring white communities, right?
Yeah.
So statistically, there are some facts that say that money circulated up to 21 times before it left the community of Greenwood, right? Um, but in reference to the color, some of the things we ran across, and this is interesting when you're working with editors and they have input and they're thinking about things and how things, um, I wanted to make sure that there was an opulence to the color because history happened in color.
Yeah.
Right. Some of the feedback initially was, oh, well, I was thinking the editorial feedback was, I think the book should be sepia tone. I was thinking it would be that. And I could understand, like, okay, it's historical. You want it to have that historical look like a parchment paper. However, it's important that the community who reads this book understands that our history happened in color.
And
right?
it wasn't that long ago.
And it
right.
wasn't that long
Right.
ago. It really wasn't that long ago. The last survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre and rebuilding, right, just passed away, right, at a very, very old age of over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Some of the other things in reference to the color, I'll talk about that process as well. If you'll notice that the color is flat color. So the sky, the clouds have tone to them. And then the foregrounds have spots of highlight, right? But the middle ground is really flat color. And that was a style choice because we had to get this book done. And we had a month and a half, right, to get this book done. So there was, we had to figure out a style that we could knock out really quickly. And then another thing I will say about that also is in reference to some of that page you said was your favorite page. Thank you for that. I also wanted to find some ways of being creative and talking about this horrific event, right?
Yeah.
So how do we make this opulent and beautiful and something that children will want to read? It is a primer for educators and for parents to be able to approach this heavy subject matter with young people. You have to make it opulent for them, right?
Yeah.
You have to attract them. And another thing I wanted to do is another kind of problem we ran into that I had to think about solving was I could not travel to the Tulsa Historical Society to do research, right? I did not have time to do that. And I had very few resources. There are people that Alverne names in the book. I have no record of what they looked like. So I want to be accurate, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm going to hold off on these certain images until I get either I find the reference or the editor tells me, okay, you have to make up a likeness of this person,
Mhm.
right? I think these things are important to talk about and think about because there were concessions that had to be made in order to celebrate this moment in history. I'll leave it there. I'm sure there'll be, Alverne, you might want to say something about that as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the when I wrote the script. I think by the time we got to the version that me and you worked on, I think that had been the third or fourth version I had written. And I remember like the first time there, the first script I wrote, it touched on Juneteenth. It was a whole different. It was a whole different perspective. It was about a soldier who comes back to Tulsa right after the war, and he is dealing with the idea that again he's fought for this country and he's come back and now he's being treated as a second grade citizen, and his father has gone through slavery and it celebrates Juneteenth, and the father or the grandfather is teaching these kids in this community why Juneteenth is so important. And I think at the original one we had they were gonna be singing "Lift Every Voice and Sing." And I remember when we were in this editorial meeting or the notes that came back, somebody had asked, "Why are they singing this?" And I had to point out the significance of what it meant to African Americans to have this song and everything. And then when we eventually came back and they had to and I had to do it, I think I did like I said 3 or 4 different versions of the script, and I did them under like I don't know, I was just writing like crazy and just handing stuff off. And then I remember when we got to this version or this idea of what we were gonna do for Across the Tracks, I remember telling John that I didn't want to talk about. I didn't want. I know we had to show the riot and everything, but I didn't want to focus on that. I wanted to focus on the people because at one point it was passed in a note that we should focus on the businesses. And I'm like, well, you can't have the businesses without the people. The
Yeah.
businesses are secondary as to to talk about the greatness of Black Wall Street, but the people are what make it. So I remember when me and Stacey finally connected, that was the first thing we talked about. We are like, look, we got to make sure these people, whether we have pictures of them or not, we got to make sure that when readers read this, they feel these people, that they know and understand that every person in this book existed, every place in this book existed. It was real, and it's real. If you had grandparents that came from the South around that time, it's always been real for you in one way or another. You've heard these stories, but for a new generation of kids, and for especially a lot of Americans that had just watched Watchmen, and
Mhm.
this was their first introduction. It was like, well, we're gonna give you a primer, as you say, and we're gonna show you and walk you around this beautiful part of the city that nobody has actually showcased. And that was really my goal for when we wrote this and put it together.
Hmm.
I mean, y'all did a beautiful job because that's the first thing a reader can take from it is just seeing the love that this community has and the love that built Greenwood. Like between the story and the art, like I know I call it a Hank blue, but like that blue just flows, just makes you think of the dreams and the hopes of that community and it growing. It's just
Hmm.
absolutely stunning. Y'all did a fantastic job. I'm gonna stop fangirling. Y'all
Thank you.
y'all did.
No, no. See, one thing we're not gonna do is minimize. We're definitely on the Pink Riot
It's
Comic Show.
so
We're gonna give
amazing.
flowers where they're due. One thing that
Yes.
really resonated me that you said, Alverne, was about um someone making a note about wanting it to be about the businesses. And that really stood out to me because more often than not, like we see this every day today, watching what's happening with ICE and all of that stuff throughout the
Yeah.
US. People try to quantify our value in things
Hmm.
and money and in what we're doing for other people and completely dismiss and dehumanize us. So
Yeah.
it was really important that you stood on that and made sure that the core of this story was the human experience so people understood the magnitude of the loss. It wasn't just a bunch of buildings and money that was lost. There was so
Yes.
many lives
People.
lost. There was so
Yes.
much community and so much effort and time and love and energy poured into building this from nothing, despite what was surrounding them the entirety of the time. And it's not something that you could just easily flip a coin and replace. That's like you're
Yeah.
talking about people's potential generational wealth that was
Mhm.
snatched away from them, people's lives snatched away from them, people's livelihoods, their entire community. So I think that you rooting it in that human experience is really what's shown through here, and it makes
Yes.
a world of a difference that it was focused on their lives and their contributions and what they were trying to build for themselves more so than these hateful acts. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yeah.
you guys went about it in the right way for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
I can see kids like reading this and going, "Oh my goodness, we had everything." And to grow up not seeing that, so many of us just not living in predominantly Black communities where the money stays in the community, like to really see this, like even I was stopped short where I was like, dang, that dollar circulated over 20 times. That's crazy because I know it's not even a quarter of that now.
Yeah.
No, it is statistically when we get paid, statistically, right? I believe it is a matter of hours before that money leaves our community. That means we got paid during the day, right? At lunchtime, we might have got our check at lunchtime. And then by the time we leave, we spend that money outside of our community, right?
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to point out about the book, I think this is important. It's important that we push back on editors when they make decisions that don't align with our visions for books.
Yeah.
If you notice on the cover of the book, there are Black people on the cover of the book. When I came up with sketches for the book, all of the cover ideas had Black people on it.
Yeah.
One of the pushbacks from the editor was there should be no people on the book, right? And I, or to take the people off the book or whatever, right? They had a whole other idea for the cover, and I had to say something about that. I'm like, why would we take the Black people off
Of the Black book.
of the cover of this book that is celebrating the Black people that were, right? You know what I mean? So sometimes, and I don't think that was malicious. I think that sometimes they're not thinking, right? They don't always understand what's important to Black people. So it's important that we speak up about this. Once we said this, they were like, oh my God, of course, absolutely we should do that, right? There was no pushback after that. But initially there was, and it is, right, Bree, you're making a face. Absolutely.
You being kind.
But yeah,
I think it's intentional.
If you ain't got nothing nice to say, you don't say nothing at all. But I think you're being super generous with that.
Yeah.
Well,
there's so much inherent bias that it's like you can't say that they weren't thinking, because they were thinking. The thought was protect me from my white guilt. I can't push this away.
Or from my white audience that won't accept this.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And that could easily be the truth. I always want to give, sometimes I want to get a benefit of the doubt, right? Because sometimes I come my politics, I come with a sledgehammer. And that really could have just been a wiping off. It's like, oh, it didn't have to come that hard, right? I can just brush that off. But I think innately, right, a lot of these things are so deep within it that just deeply ingrained. And I believe that you're absolutely right in that, right? Like looking at this face to face literally makes you confront it in a very particular way, right? Either you are, you have to pick a side, right?
Yeah.
You can't be neutral. You can't, there is no neutrality because neutrality is picking a side,
Yeah.
right? So, I'll leave it there. Once again, I am not the host of this wonderful, wonderful show. I'm a professor. I professorate. I talk a lot. I'm done.
You're not alone, though. We get it.
Yeah, 100%. And the way that we've had many a guest who will go there, okay, and it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like we have you here because we value your perspective and your opinion. You know what I'm saying? The kiki don't stop. We're gonna bring that regardless. But the power and the responsibility that came along with putting out this story, it necessitated that approach.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I was making a face because I'm terrible at hiding my faces. But usually, Keisha will back me up on this. Usually I am the silver lining gal, hope for the best out of everybody type of thing.
Better
But
than me,
this,
yes.
yeah, you know, two of us, that's usually me. But in this particular instance, it conjures a lot of different like memories and emotions for me specifically, because I remember when Watchmen came out and the shock and awe of all of the people, even some from our community, who were like, I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Why would they? And it's like, no, it wasn't made up. This is an actual thing that happened. And then having to like contend with that theory or that assumption, and also keep your composure and understand like this person isn't being willfully ignorant. It wasn't taught in school, in most schools. So if it wasn't brought to your attention from one secondary or tertiary origin, then you probably wouldn't know about this. But the part that made it the worst was people who still didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, this, while you guys did it in a very considerate way that would be easily digestible regardless of, you know, your background or your experience, hearing that you guys had to go to bat for how the story was going to be told, with what was going to be placed as the highest importance, and making sure that these people's legacy were represented in a way that was true to them and not just true to the more palatable version of the story, is important.
Yeah, and I think me and Stacey were also on the same note about making sure, as African Americans, as Black people in the diaspora, that just because Greenwood was destroyed didn't mean that the people didn't go gracefully into the night. They didn't just sit there and watch it all burn. They fought back. And then I think me and Stacey really talked about that. We wanted to make sure that when, especially little Black girls and boys, and when they read this, they understand that was fighting us. That's always been fighting us as a people. And so it didn't just happen and things went away and it was destroyed. It's like, no, the resilience of those people, they had dreams, as you said, you know, and they fought for those dreams. And what was left and what was destroyed, it was like a phoenix. They still rose and they came back. And we wanted to make sure that we didn't just say, oh yeah, they rolled over and waited for this great storm to come and just watched everything burn.
Yeah, they immediately started rebuilding. Right. One of the other things I want to point out in the book, Keisha, I know you have the book in front of you. There's can you open it up to that? There's the bombing page. Oh, Bree, you have it too. The page where the city is bombed. Let me see if that is, that page. So we talked about Watchmen. All right, both of those pages is great. I like it. That page that you were holding up, Keisha, was actually a still. I did a screenshot of Watchmen, that episode in Watchmen. I drew over that as my reference.
Wow.
So I could put the contemporary history, right, that contemporary pop culture into this history that we're talking about, just so I could say that I did that and bring that in, right, as a talking point, right?
That's
So
dope.
Yeah. Tea. Oh, that's tea. This, yeah.
Yes.
I assumed that, like, I also like, so this was my second,
That's my
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
I love that page
To
too.
show the resilience.
yeah, we
The
did not
fight.
go quietly. We were
Right.
prepared for their shenanigans to a certain degree, but
Yeah, we had heat on us.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like we were defending our homes, like
Yeah.
because we know we just like we know now, right? We
Yeah.
knew
Yes.
then,
Advice,
we know now.
folks listening.
Look
Advice.
here.
Everybody went quietly. The reason why this is my favorite page is because I thought that was such a creative way to show. So for context, for those who haven't read this, this is the part in the story where they're explaining that, you know, it was like, let's rally the folks to come and support this person who would potentially be lynched for no reason. Okay. So you see the men in the community all on the line talking to each other, making it a network and planning to go handle their business to support
Yes.
their own. So it's like, this is before anything even happened. And it's also like this, yeah, they're planning and preparing to be in place, but this is what community looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like they were going to plan to be in place to support that young brother, and just that it's like it didn't matter what it was like. Even come on, in the bonnet. Like we were playing. We stopped what we were doing to get together to handle our business, because that was the core of everything that they represented, was community and supporting each other for their betterment. So it's just like, and the fact that it was cool, it was just like all swirly together. It could have been done any number of ways, but that was just,
Yeah.
I really
Stacey and his genius.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did have fun drawing that page.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're being respectful of you guys' time, and we love Jesus, I can't talk. We love being able to talk about Across the Track specifically, but we love to also give you the opportunity to shameless plug yourselves. We'll be sharing the links where people can purchase these stories from some of our favorite Black-owned bookstores on Pink Riot throughout the course of the year as we do these interviews. But we'd love for you guys to share, what are you working on right now, and give us your shameless plug. So anywhere we could find you, where we could buy your books, what else you got going on, what's coming up next, when's the next time you're going to be on the Pink Riot Comic Show, all of that.
I'll let you go first, Stacey.
All right, and I will keep it brief. I will not Professor Tate. All right. Right now, I am at the University of Maryland in my Airbnb, honestly, but at the University of Maryland, I am completing a residency with one of my collaborators, Cynthia Oliver. I am on her production team. She is a choreographer. We've been working together for about 8 years now. And she is producing with some dancers, producing a 3-part or 3-piece dance work that is incredible. And I am the visual artist, the illustrator for this. And that will be, let's see, that starts touring in, I want to say in July, that starts touring. So I'm super excited. I'm working on that project right now. I am in my sabbatical. I'm on sabbatical right now. I'm on another academic leave. I am working on some really awesome animations. I'm back into my first love, which is animation, doing some tests using Procreate Dreams. And I am working on my Afrofuturism manuscript, which is going to be intense, but it's going to be looking at how we can think about and theorize a Black liberation government through historical Black culture and Afrofuturism as a framework for a a government, a sustainable government for us. So we don't have to rely on this government that has never been ethical or moral toward us.
I would like a copy. We read books over here too.
This is gonna, these are art books. So I'm doing a lot of writing and theorization, but they will be art books. You gotta, my favorite things to say is you gotta show people what the Afro future looks like. If you want them to activate it, you gotta show them what the Black liberated future looks like.
I was gonna say you can see Keisha actively winding up as you describe that. So yeah.
I love it all.
How about you, Alverne?
For me, I got another graphic novel coming out from Megascope. Probably, I guess they're gonna announce it soon. But I can talk about it now. It's called Rhineland. It's the true story about a group of Black Germans who banded together and fought against Hitler as he was coming into power. And then I got a middle grade picture book called Evermore that's coming out around November of this year. And then I'm working on a series of crimantasy illustrated novellas that might be coming out through Megascope called The Apothecary Mysteries. Yeah, and then I have a live action digital sci-fi series that's coming out in May. Possibly, I think it's going to be on YouTube or one of these platforms, and that's called Pathways. It's a kind of about teaching kids about different career choices that they can make, and about this corporation that's kind of like in the vein of like an Amazon or a Tesla, and how they use AI and virtual reality to change the lives of different citizens and stuff like that. So I'm working on a lot of different things, and I'm trying to do something with Stacey again. I'm trying to convince him to come back to Greenwood.
Yeah.
Y'all busy. I like
right?
that.
All of these Pink Riot exclusives,
right?
Like, give us all the tea.
Yes.
We will definitely be working together soon. I also have a graphic novel coming out at some point, I believe next year. It is an anthology through MIT Press.
Okay.
John is also a part of that creative team as well. And so much more coming. You asked where we could be found at. You can find me at staceyrobinson.com. All my socials are on there. I try to keep everything at Stacey A. Robinson, STACEYA Robinson, and reach out to me.
Yes, yeah, I guess the description in the description, everybody's websites are there. So if you ain't catch that, you can just look in the description right now.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm at alvernerights.com. Simple.
Nice. Okay, so for our very last question, since your story is a part of the Megascope story, we'd love to hear from you. What does being a part of this Megascope mission mean to you?
I'll go first. I've been thinking about this, and I was just asked this question recently too, so I can. I've been thinking about it for a while. Megascope means to me, this is our Black imprint. This is where we get to voice ourselves, express ourselves, and tell our stories. I don't know of another publisher like this. Graphic novel imprint dealing with speculative fiction like this. Many of us are making pitches, right? And John needs help. I think John needs more editors. He needs more help at the, so this is something we need to push back on Abrams about, actually, making sure that they're keeping editors on staff, making sure that they're marketing the books, right? Marketing these awesome books. The work is not, it needs to be pushed, right? Megascope means to me, this reminds me of some of the books I'm reading right now. Right now, I'm reading some early Black science fiction. Black No More and Black and by George Schuyler. You mentioned Megascope, right? I read The Princess Steel by W.E.B. Du Bois. I'm reading right now. I am reading Blake or the Huts of America. And that was produced in the 1800s, right? This is
Yeah.
right. We're talking about early science fiction that goes back into the 1800s, right? As these are, so I'm looking at this as the foundation of much of our foundation in reference to Afrofuturism. Some of these stories could be illustrated. Shouts out to my homeboy Tim Fielder. He is illustrating The Comet by W.E.B. Du Bois, right? That is early science fiction, right? Going back.
Yeah.
So I'm saying Megascope means to me like the Pittsburgh Courier that was publishing the serialized Black Empire and what was it? Black Empire, and I believe before Black Empire it was Black International, right? And this is by George Schuyler, right, who wrote Black No More. This is some of the illest science fiction that I've ever read, and this came out in the I believe the 1930s, published by the Pittsburgh Courier, Black newspaper, right? And that was only some of the stuff that they were doing. This book was never, Pittsburgh Courier never illustrated that, but George Schuyler always wanted Black International and Black Empire to be illustrated. I encourage all of us to read that. That's what Megascope to me means in this contemporary time. It is how we are theorizing what our futures look like outside of colonialism. We all need to be contributing to this. And whether we are reading it and buying it, or whether we are pitching stories and getting them published through Megascope, there is all work that we can do to contribute and make sure that this imprint does not fail.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got me in a loss for words in some ways.
Right.
And the only reason I say that
The question, I'm like, did I answer the
I'm
question?
sitting there, I'm thinking home, and that's what Megascope feels like. And I was thinking the word that kept popping in my head was inclusive. But as you were talking, I kept going, man, that feels like home. And that's what Megascope feels like. And the reason I say that is because I remember pitching Rhineland, and I remember an agent saying, oh, I had to look this up because I didn't realize it was real. Even though on the first page it goes based on actual events, inspired by actual events. He goes, I didn't know there were Black people in Germany. And it was just like, it was a smack in the face in some ways, because I'm like, I wrote this thing, I did all this research, I mapped it out, and I'm showing you, and you still will deny that I exist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think for Megascope is that beacon in the night. It's a beacon that a lot of us needed at some point, and it's becoming the rise, the dawn of a new age kind of thing. And as Stacey said, I think in the next couple of years, Megascope will be home to so many other artists and writers for so many different reasons. And in the publishing world, where it is it is still very predominantly Caucasian, and our stories are always told through someone else's lens.
Yeah.
And I work in publishing, educational publishing a lot. So I feel like Megascope is going to be the Jet magazine of comics. It's going to be our
Like that.
Esquire, our essence.
Mhm.
And I think in the next couple of years, starting this year, probably for the next 5 years, whatever, we as creators and as a home, I think we're going to be the penultimate when it comes to Eisners, when it comes to Stokers and every other award that you can think of in the literary term or that sense, is because when you look at what Megascope is producing, it's what everybody else wants to produce but is afraid to produce. And a lot of it because they're afraid, because it's Black voices. We've always been at the height of mainstream everything. You know, everything that is made or is copied from us in one way or another. And so I say that to say that I'm not shitting on anybody else's, creativity. But what I am saying is that I think we've always been hungry and we've always been creative. And when you
Mhm.
put those two things together, you can only go up.
Hmm.
So I'll leave it at that.
Say that.
Yes.
Say that. Listen, I love that. I love both of your interpretations of Megascope and what it means to you, because I
Yes.
feel like you need that sort of balance to create the type of magic that you guys do. Honestly, I feel like that's why me and Keisha work so well, because we play off of each other and we both have a passion for it, but we just approach it differently to support each other. So we love to see that mirrored in other avenues, and we're rocking with Megascope, so we love that y'all are rocking with us. Thank y'all so much for sharing your time with us and sharing your
Thank you.
experience and sharing across the tracks with us. If y'all don't already have your copy, run and go cop that.
Yes, please.
Run and go cop that. Okay? You need it
Yes.
in your library.
Check their websites, support them,
Facts.
all of that.
And we can't wait to have y'all back for these next
Yes.
projects that are coming in the future. So we hope that y'all had a good time enough to want to come back and kick it with us again.
We
It was
will definitely
amazing.
be back for sure.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
everybody. It was great talking to you. So we will catch you in the next interview.
All right.
Later.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Yay! Oh, yay. That was awesome.
Come through,
Very
Bama,
amazing.
putting it on your Amazon wish list. Get it
Yes.
where you can.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna
And
drop-
LT was talking about right. Pauline Hopkins of One Blood. Y'all need, like, the list that Stacey gave out was phenomenal. Y'all need to read them. If you didn't catch the list, Niecy Shaw has this list of all the proto black sci-fi books and stories. You can check it online. Just put that in the search, and it'll all pop up. But Of One Blood is another one that everybody needs to read. Oh, that's exciting.
Yes. All the tea.
All right. So we have another guest who has been here waiting patiently.
What can we say? We have a lot of iconic creators who want to share and talk about all the cool shit that they're doing. So sometimes it's 2026. We said we're continuing our Delulu into this year, and the way that we made friends with so many Black creators in our journey thus far, we might have stacked guests, and that's just a bonus for y'all. So make sure you pull up and show them love, for real. We had this whole conversation about not having people on the show who we don't truly believe in, and not hyping up books that we aren't interested in or haven't enjoyed. So I mean, if I'm not going to say anything negative. Just know that if they're here, it's a double positive. I'll just say that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, all of the love. But yeah, we have our next guest is someone we had the pleasure of meeting at San Diego Comic-Con, gem of a human. I don't know if that was your first time meeting him, but I got to meet him because he was there showing love for Stephanie Williams. And if y'all don't know already, this is a Stephanie Williams stan account. Okay? We stan our girl. So it was just peak epicity by association. And I'm not going to lie, I was unfamiliar with his game until afterwards. And then I was like, wow, we're just meeting.
I like his writing style.
I'm like, let me find out something. Literally went back to the room and was just, my flabbers were gasted. And Keisha was like, you didn't know, girl, you didn't know. I'm like, no, girl, I'm just friendly to everybody. What are you talking about? So it's and that just speaks to his humility. You know what I'm saying? He was just there kicking it, celebrating these comics, celebrating Stephanie, and very chill about his introduction and all of that. And then looking into what he has done, I'm like, wow, he's super humble for somebody so accomplished. So it was just really cool that he immediately identified with us and was like, yeah, I'll be on the show. And so we just, had our cute little fangirl and went on about our business. But now he's got all these things going on. So we're so excited that he has taken the time to join us on today's show. So let's welcome him now.
Everybody, welcome Dorado quick.
How are y'all doing? Y'all introduction was just beautiful. Thank you. Like, man. First off, thank you for having me.
Of course.
Y'all were so cool at SDCC, and there's so few of us, right? So to like meet someone who looks like us, same interest in the vibe, and to be cool, and then for us to both follow up, right? Because we'd be like, oh, hit me up. And then you hit them up, you never hear nothing. For y'all to hit me up, and I'd hit y'all up back and forth, and we made it happen. That y'all have me here. Thank you for the introduction.
Yes, thank you for taking the time. We don't take your time for granted because y'all, he's like doing his big thing creatively, but he's also in school. So for us to be able to like take some of his time, that's crazy. So we, like I said, we don't take it for granted. We really appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
How is school so far?
Yeah,
it's intense. It's intense. I'm learning a lot. Film is another medium. So it's like you learn the rules and you learn the crafts of each medium. Advertising is one thing, comics is one thing, branded content is one thing, short film is another thing, feature films and narratives are a whole nother beast. The through line is story, right? Knowing your character, knowing your story. What do you want to say as an artist? Those type of skills translate. But it's intense.
Yeah. Like I'm struggling going between, because I'm in a space now where I'm learning more about the art side of comics. And that is a lot, to be able to have the language to say exactly why you like something, or why this sticks with you in some kind of way. I'm so proud of you for going back to school learning that.
Thank you. And that's the thing about comics, people forget. It's like any other medium. Comics is not just superheroes. You got noir, you got rom-coms, you got love, you got adventures, you got mysteries, you got detectives, like horror comics are huge. So like, and then be able to talk about, even me, I'm still learning why I like certain artists over other artists, or I prefer this artist style versus another. Like, it's all beautiful work, but it's figuring out what is the style that is best for a certain story or a certain writer.
Yes, definitely. And this story, first off, you're here because of the DC Romance Anthology that's coming out the end of this month, right?
Yeah, January 28th. DC's Supergirl Next Door #1.
Yes. So you guys have the cover when you go into your comic book shop. If you haven't pre-ordered, please do so now.
Absolutely.
Or just pick it up day of or week of. Some comic shops are going to get an alternate cover, which is pretty dope too. Go pick it up January 28th.
The art style on the alt cover, like, so y'all know I love a pink centric cover regardless, but that art style on, I forget who the artist is, on the B cover is very peak. So you literally can't lose with it. But we love to hear like, well, first, one thing we love to do with all of our guests is hear what your comic book origin story. You see, I was about to start fangirling because I really want to know about that, but we said we're staying on task this year. What was your comic book origin story? Like, what got you into reading and enjoying comics? And then we want to hear what got you into creating comics.
Ooh, great first question, deep question. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I grew up in Inglewood, California, back when Inglewood was up to no good. It's a lot different now. Yeah, stadium thing, a little bit of gentrification. So back in
Cali,
Inglewood was rough, and my uncle was, in and out of halfway houses, if you know what that is. So he would just try to find things to keep me out of trouble.
Yeah.
And I had recently moved in with my dad because my mom had left. So now I'm living with my dad around the chaos of my neighborhood, my community, good kid, mad city type stuff. And my uncle just needed a way to just, teach me right from wrong, keep me out of trouble. Back then you can get comics at the liquor store, you know what I mean? So you could get them there, you can get them at 7-Eleven. So I think my first comics were like Definitely DC. There was Batman. I definitely picked up like some old Ninja Turtles, and then definitely some Spider-Man as well. But my uncle would drop off these books to me. He'd read them with me, or tell me he'd already had read them, and then tell me to read them and tell me and go back and tell him what I thought. That's how I got into comics. My uncle just trying to find a way to keep me out of trouble, keep me off the streets, teach me right from wrong. And I think he was also kind of planting a seed of escapism. It just to like see the world outside, my window. So that was my intro into comics from my uncle.
Wow, that's real. And that's beautiful that you shared it, because I feel like a lot of us who got into reading like at a young age, you were really lucky if you had someone who you looked up to or who was like partially taking care of you, who participated in it with you. Because a lot of us have that experience like solitarily. So the fact that he was reading it and talking about it with you probably just enhanced it that much more. So that's beautiful.
Yeah. And what was the next question? It was, how did I get into
Creating
writing?
comics.
Yeah.
Such a long journey, y'all. I remember an undergrad emailing Marvel, emailing DC, going to like the academic advisors, never got a response. Never got a response. So then I was like, I never put the dream away, but I was just like, all right, I'm gonna have to do this later in life, or it's just I'm gonna figure it out somehow. And I pursued a career in advertising, did very well with that, writing and creative direction for a lot of big brands. And it was around 2018, I did a short film starring Michael B. Jordan for the first Black Panther. And all my comic book knowledge kind of like was like needed by everybody at PepsiCo and Briss. Like you didn't need a presentation. You needed me in the room to kind of explain comics and things like that and what happened. And then from there, I got to work on, and again, I got to consult on like the Air Jordan collaboration they did. And then I got to consult on Venom as well. So like, my career in comics kind of just fused, and just so grateful for the opportunity for that. It was a friend of mine who was working at Sony. She gave me the opportunity after she met me on the Black Panther project, and just grateful for her giving me the opportunity. And then from there, I'd always been like writing paragraphs, writing ideas in the background. I had read Brian Michael Bendis's Words for Pictures and other books you can, buy on how to write comics. Scott McCloud has like Understanding Comics, Making Comics. And then he has a third one that I haven't read, but I have the book. And then I reached out to Anthony Piper. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but
yeah,
really. I like to say like I'm Anthony's first and only student of gifted youngsters. He doesn't take a lot of people on, and for some reason we hit it off. And I would send Anthony scripts, and Ant would rip them up and tell me everything that was wrong with them. Tell me I'm ugly and couldn't read good. Tell me what I did right, and from there I started like understanding more about the art and the craft of writing comics, right? So there's like, when you write comics, you're writing for the audience, obviously, but you're writing for an editor, you're writing for your artist, you're writing for the colorer, you're writing for the letterer. And after some training with Anthony, I applied to the DC Comics Warner Brothers Discovery Talent Program for the Milestone Initiative. They did like an announcement at Comic-Con, applied. You had to submit scripts based on a prompt, so you couldn't submit what you'd already done. They gave you a new prompt that we had to submit a script for. Went through an interview process, and I think you guys met Morgan Hampton that day.
Yeah. He went through it too.
And then we did, I think the program was like 8 weeks online with like, it was 12 writers and 12 artists internationally from across the world. And then we did a week in person at DC headquarters. And then for that year, shout out our professor, Amy Chu, amazing comic book writer.
Yeah.
At every convention. No, Amy Chu is whenever we see Amy, she shows us love. For about a year, we went to San Diego Comic-Con, WonderCon, all the cons, and she introduced us to editors, and DC introduced to people. and started getting picked for projects. I've done quite a few projects with DC, did some projects with Boom Studios. I'm a big Power Rangers fan. And then also got to work with Tyler Martin with Godhood Comics and the actor Woody McClain from Power. So that's how I got into comics and how I started writing and creating comics.
That's dope.
Crazy. That's crazy. I would love to ask that question because your route was definitely singular in comparison to a lot of other stories that we've heard about how people get in. But one thing that is very similar with all those stories is like your attention to detail. You're passionate about something and you did the work. Like you're talking about these books that you read about how to create and how you're studying under people and how you're putting in the work to understand stories in all mediums, and they just kind of all crash together. So yeah, that's really cool.
Absolutely. I have 2 questions you can completely ignore, but I'm gonna ask them anyway.
Okay.
I'm typically more serious than this, but you said Michael B. Jordan's name.
Yeah.
So,
what's up?
Are you able to contact this man currently?
We spoke last week.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Great human being.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's excellent. Yeah.
I'm happy I asked the question. That was important.
I am not. The way that I purposed it in my heart not to say a thing. Here you go.
It happens. It's okay. It happens. I'm used to it. It happens.
Yeah. So you just.
Okay, and since second, I love Power
with our like secondhand lust. You know,
both talk at the same time. I'll answer everything. Just which one we go with. We go with Bree. We go with Keisha.
Oh, I was gonna move on to Power Rangers.
I'm wondering how safe is your second question, Keisha? Let's move it along.
Oh no, that was my only one. That no Power Rangers.
We just have one.
Yes.
About Power Rangers. Yeah.
Which one do I start with your writing?
Oh, so man, so I got really. I don't say if it's lucky, but like Nip said, like opportunity and preparation. I was at San Diego Comic-Con a couple years, and I had been reaching out to the Power Rangers editor, and I got to see her in person at San Diego Comic-Con. I talked to her about the work I was doing, and she had an opportunity coming up. So you know, most comic book fans know, but everybody doesn't know. Books come out in single issues, and then they collect them. So it was the collection. I think I might have. I do have it. Yeah, it is Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2. It's like the collected edition. It's like huge. This is like, I don't know, like 2-3 years worth of work.
When they do put it closer to the screen, quick, dang.
Yeah, when they do like the hardcover editions, they typically include like guest writers and things like that.
Yeah.
See that quick flash. His name is right there on the spine.
I didn't even know it was going to happen because I'm only in there for like 10 pages. Yeah. So like I told her I was, a big Power Rangers fan. I loved it my entire life. It's a safe place. It's when I'm sad, I go watch the original movie that came out. It just always makes me feel good. And in that series, Ryan Parrott and Melissa, they brought back the Green Ranger and gave the coin to somebody else. So there was a new young man, Matt Cook, and Matt Cook was basically the sixth friend when they were in middle school and high school. When they got powers, they kind of just left him behind. And his whole life, not his whole life, but all in high school, he's like, I know y'all are the Power Rangers. Like, it's cool. I ain't gonna say anything. And they never said anything. And Matt gets like kidnapped and brainwashed. All these things happen. And he just wants to fight and help with his friends. But his friends are like, we know what you're talking about, bro. He's like, they got the same colors. Y'all got the same color t-shirts. Y'all miss. He knows. And it really hurts their friendship, And I think the way that some writers have written it, him and Kim were a thing before she was a Ranger. So he's really like feeling it. So I got to write a story that takes place right after he becomes the new Green Ranger. And it's one of the things where you get what you want, but it comes with other things. So like one thing he did is when in this comic series, Lord Zed takes over Angel Grove, he puts like a dome over the city. The Power Rangers can't get in, and Matt is there by himself defending Angel Grove, and all the citizens are. So he reveals himself to all of Angel Grove and the world to let them know. Because, in comic books, and actually nobody knows whether the Power Rangers are humans or not. Like they just know they're people in suits. So he reveals himself. And what that does, it makes the whole city feel safe. It makes everyone feel a little closer to Rangers. But now he really can't hang out with his friends, because if he goes to get lunch and everybody knows you're the Green Ranger, you got 6 people around you. So this story is really about him, being a hero, relieving, kind of coming out as a hero. And just like he can't get lunch with his friends, after battles, he has to do like, ESPN style press conference, with the helmet there. And he's talking about what happened. The Yellow Ranger did this, the White Ranger did this. And he's getting so much pressure. People wanted to give him brand deals. And he's like, nah, I just want to protect my friends and family. His dad is upset that he's not playing football anymore. And he's just having a terrible day of being like this instant celebrity. Like he tries to go buy a smoothie from Ernie's. I made Ernie's like a food cart, you know what I mean? Because kind of modernize it. And these 2 bullies are like messing with him because like, yo, you can't fade us without the morpher. He's like, yo, I don't even need the morpher, but I don't want the smoke. I'm just here to save the city. Yeah. And there's this kid that tries to reach out to him that's sick. And it's like, yo, I'm fighting cancer or something like that. Well, I'd love to meet you one day. And the bullies kind of get in the way of the kid reaching out to him. Oh. And by the end of the story, he comes home. There's like press all in front of his house, like, cameras, paparazzi flashing. And his dad and his mom welcome in the house. And they're like, we didn't really understand what this meant. And you go around to like all the fictional cities and Power Rangers, and everyone's doing like a food drive or a clothing drive. And it's like, yo, if this 16-year-old kid can be fighting for our lives, we can all do our part in our respective cities. And when he gets to his room, it's the letter from that kid talking about, hey, you're fighting for our city and I'm going to fight this sickness. And that was like the story I got to write. And I thought that was just a special story to kind of give you the public persona of a Power Ranger, which we've never had in the Mighty Morphin series. I'm just a Green Ranger fan. Like I love the Dragon Zord. I love the new suit. And it was just, I was like, if you let me pick, I'm always going to pick the Green Ranger, whether that's Tommy or Matt Cook, that's who I'm going to pick. And they liked my pitch and I got to tell the story. So shout outs to Boom Studios. Hopefully I can get back in to do some more Power Ranger stories. They've had a changing of the guard, different editors, things like that, but we're in communication and hopefully we get to do some more stories.
I mean, well, you just made me the hell out of that, right? You see them, and I'm like, we were literally just talking about this the other like a couple episodes ago about how like you were either really a Power Ranger fan when you were little or you weren't. You know what I'm saying? And while I wasn't a Power Ranger fan because of the way my sister and my cousins loved it, it's the same way that like Keisha's not a SpongeBob fan because of her people around her who like wore it to death type of thing. But the way you just pitched that, I'm like, yeah, I'll pick up a Power Ranger book. So I hope that they definitely like give you a shot at writing your perspective.
Oh yeah.
Because that sounds really cool. So like give us specifics about that particular issue so we can go pick that up.
Well, it's in that collected version, so I can like slide y'all like a press copy so y'all can enjoy it. But for like the general,
I'm gonna get the book so you get your money.
Yeah,
also.
Yeah, that's literally that's the vibe.
Has to buy that.
You're gonna cut the Power Ranger book on my shelves is because Quick wrote it. Period.
I appreciate it.
You will be getting an email from us though. Like, where can we send this to get it signed?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I see y'all again this year at San Diego. That would be good.
Say that. And maybe you can, like help us slide into one of those DC parties.
I will try. It took a minute for me to get in, so my whole thing is I always try to help good people, and y'all are good people. So I'll see what we can do, even if it's just introducing you to somebody that can maybe do it. You know what I mean? Because
literally, listen, we're goofy. We're gonna shoot our shot wherever, but we're just we want to be a part of what you're doing. That's the
Yeah.
gist.
For sure. And like, your voices are important. You know what I mean? Not only are women, you're Black women, comics, geeks, nerds. Like, we need to get more access to y'all. Like, the way y'all root for Stephanie makes me happy, because Stephanie is just so cool. Like, Stephanie reached out to me, or I don't know if I reached out, whatever happened. Me and Stephanie spoke a bunch of times before we actually met.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met her in person, it was like, you're everything and more. So I'll go for Stephanie. You know, I'll try to do what I can for sure.
Period. Yeah. The way that we were like obsessed with her work, and then you meet her and it's like, wow, she's just genuinely a gem of a person. So it's like, you can't help but root for somebody who's like mad talented and also just cool as hell, which is why you're here on the show, Quick.
That's why you're here. But now, the way you spoke about Power Rangers and just the way you pitched it, one, made me fall in love with it immediately. So just know I'm getting that book. But also, it just reminds me of just how you can make somebody fall in love with a character nobody would typically think of or pay attention to. Because going into this DC anthology, I'm gonna be honest, I grew up with Justice League, right? I grew up with them, but like the JSA, I didn't really know too much about them. And like this story that you wrote made me go, oh my God, do I have to like read this to get his backstory? This was adorable. This was wonderful. I like this character and what he stands for. That's amazing to do. Especially because I don't really like white people in my comics. Like,
oh my God, Keisha.
Oh, well, one, thank you. This is my first romance story. I've never wrote about love publicly. I've never shared a love story. So that was a challenge publicly. Yeah. So that was a challenge, right? Writing a love story. And then two, it's an older white male from like one of the original DC heroes. So how do I tap into that voice, that perspective, the things that he and his wife might enjoy? It was a really, really fun challenge. I tried to like tap into a little bit of John Wesley Shipp. He played Jay Garrick on the CW Flash show. So I kind of had his energy and persona kind of in my head. And then Jeff Johns wrote a lot of JSA and Jay Garrick. And then Jeremy Adams recently did a 5 or 6 issue run on Jay Garrick. So what I do is I do my research. I kind of formulate a voice or opinion on where I think the story could go. And then I try to like, do a little paragraph to like conceptualize it. And then I go to write it. And also tried to do something that I haven't really seen done before, which is 5 interconnecting splash pages. You rarely see that in comics, let alone in the 10-pager. And I was able to balance that out. Well, I didn't know if it was going to work, but I think it worked. And being that you liked it means that it worked. So, where I'm at right now, my journey is trying to push the medium of what you can do in comics. And that was like my first kind of like, let me see what I got. Let me see if I'm getting better. And I think I'm getting better.
Period.
No, definitely. That was actually one of my questions. I was like, what was the collaboration like with the artist? Because it seemed like you had an idea and they were like, bet, let's do it. And just like,
I'm very detailed in my scripts, but I also leave room for collaboration. So I'll hyperlink a lot of things as references. So the concept for this story is like, you've all heard the thing about like your life flashes before your eyes and you see yourself from beginning to end. And I thought about, this is a romance anthology. There's a villain. It's just about a man that just wants to celebrate his anniversary with his wife. And this villain attacks him and he's on the ropes. And it's like, he sees his life flash before his life. And he sees the things he's done good, the things he's done bad, the things he wish he could have done better, and the ups and the downs. And I was like, all right, this character debuted in like, I don't know, like the 40s or the 50s, something like that, the beginnings of DC. And I was like, well, what have they really seen? They've seen cinema change. They've seen cinema from like the drive-ins, you guys have seen that viral Ryan Coogler interview when he does like the 8mm, 16mm, 35mm. Here are the perforations, here are the perfs. It's spinning. I thought about all that. I'm like, all right, this man has seen cinema grow. We're gonna do a light flashing before your eyes, it should be a film reel. And I wanted that film reel to capture the ups and downs of their relationship. And I'm not going to spoil the book, but as you guys know, it comes back to modern times, and that movie ticket from their first date is brought back full circle. And that's what I was going for visually. And then, like, you know, inspiration again, it was like Raphael Sadiq's our anniversary. It's our anniversary. That was the inspiration for this. Michael Jackson, Remember the Time, and a hint of Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father Again. Like, those are the things I was listening to as I put this story together. That's kind of how I kind of shaped it. And if now hindsight, you could probably kind of see those beats kind of happen.
Yes. Oh.
That needs to be a question we ask more often, because I
Yeah.
love hearing the music that y'all listen to and you write in, and it just like shows up on the page, because that's beautiful.
Y'all gonna
You
make
can
me a little teary. y'all.
But actually, like, hearing that after the fact is like, you can totally see that.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. And then also, like, having the context about your vision for it after what you said about like your current experience and like the difference in portraying stories depending upon what type of media you're using, is like you're really cooking in terms of like who your audience is and how you want it to be, you know, perceived outside of just the story. Like, so there's layers to it. So you can literally mention these songs afterwards, and both of us are literally clutching our imaginary pearls like, damn. But actually, though, I could feel
every bit
that
of it.
story. That's crazy.
That means my visual language is getting better. It's getting better.
100%
Yeah.
it is. 100% it is.
Because you don't want to be heavy-handed, you know, like you didn't want to be like, it's more like, how can you weave there?
Right, yeah. It's gotta be sexy, it's gotta be finessed. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is truly a talent. Cause like I feel like we were talking about this a couple episodes too, like when you come across something and it's like, I don't think that the story actually did what this person thought that it did. So it's really refreshing when you see you thought you got the full depth of it, and then you get this other layer and it's like, oh wow, they did all of that and this piece that I didn't catch because I didn't even have that like full context. You got the emotion piece of it, but you didn't know like what the reference point was, and then you get the reference point and it's just like it hits.
So
Wow,
y'all are the first that I shared that. I haven't shared that with anybody. So like y'all are the first ones that shared that because y'all asked. But yeah, the collaboration. When you do anthologies, you don't really get to always speak with your artist that much. So what I try to do is, once I know who my artist is, so like DC selected me to pitch, I pitched, they liked the pitch, I go write the script, and then like you submit artists you might want, you know what I mean? So like I submitted a few artists, and I swung for the fences. He's like, I'm glad you swung for the fences.
As you should, yeah.
And I was familiar with Laura's work, Laura Braga, and he had told me that Laura was going to be an artist. And when I saw Laura's work, I'm like, oh, I see why you picked her. This is dope. And I DM'd her and it's like, hey, I just found out we're going to be working together. I really like your artwork. If you have any questions, anything, like, hit me up, let me know. And she felt that the story was very emotional and very impactful to be 10 pages. And she was excited to draw it. And I think you can see it in the artwork. You can see that she was excited to draw it. And yeah, we had a couple DMs here and there. And then from there, you know, it was just working with the letterer to just make sure everything is lettered correctly and at the right spots. And the letterer did a great job. The colorist did a great job. You know, everybody did a phenomenal job on this comic. And I'm very excited that it came out well. And hearing how y'all liked it means I did pretty good.
No, you did. You can tell that you have a strong understanding of this character, and you wanted us to understand this character, but through the perspective of love and what it means to like cherish your family, cherish, you know, the love of your life, and how that motivates you to get through. Like, it was beautiful. I'm sorry. It was so beautiful.
And I'm not married or anything like that. So I thought about like what does marriage look like in the ups and the downs, let alone a superhero, right? Because like you can only imagine superheroes ain't gonna be there all the time. You're not gonna get everything that you want to get. So and I also thought like a man of his age in that time period would probably feel like a debt that he could never repay. And and that's what I was trying to like bring across, is that like when you find a woman like that, a partner like that, that understands you, understands your purpose, your journey, you got to be grateful. And you might not ever be able to repay that debt, but as long as you can honor her within your life and your actions, I think it can work out. And I'm trying not to say too much, because the way that honor, you guys know honors her. But yeah, that was my goal, and I really wanted to. I wanted his wife to kind of be like the heartbeat. And you know, and you'll see this now in hindsight. The three words that he says, I saved it for as long as I could, because I wanted, I feel like an older man is gonna struggle with emotions. So I tried to like save some of my earlier drafts. I had in the middle. No, he can't say it yet. He can't say it yet. This is when he says it, and that's how it came out. But Jay Garrick and Running on Love is the name of that story. He's the first Flash, the original Flash, and thank you both for enjoying it.
Absolutely.
You can just like you can tell by how both of us are like literally squirming. Like it's so tea. And for you to have been able to convey this with the character that neither of us like would have gravitated towards naturally, for you to be able to like convey that level of emotion and make us like care more about his perspective and his experience and his relationship with this person, is just like, that is a true talent. That is a true talent. You did what you set out to do. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Yes. Wow. This is why we're fangirling for real, because like context makes the world. It just enhanced it that much more. And I'm literally like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna reread it after this. Like, that's so cool. That is so freaking cool. Wow.
I'm so stuck on the music, because y'all don't understand. Please pick this book up and then come back to this interview and listen to the 3 songs. It will make complete sense.
Yeah.
Have complete sense.
Yeah.
You are an amazing writer. Good
yeah, you are. And now you're gonna have us like all messed up, like trying, because obviously we got to buy the issue, like trying to read the other stories around it. They have like incredibly big shoes to fill in order to even seem like comparable. So like,
there's some other stories in there. It's some others that are good. I've gotten to read one other story by my homie Dave Wilgaz. He's got a Green Lantern Black Canary love story, and that one's really good. He balances action with love in it. And then Rosie Knight, she's got a Swamp Thing love story, which I'm excited to see what that Swamp Thing love story is gonna be. The book has, I've only seen like 1 or 2 of the 8 or 10 stories that are in there. But I'm thinking it's supposed to be pretty good, and this is kind of their way of kind of hinting that the Supergirl movie is coming. So they did a good job of curating this book, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So I only know about Swamp Thing because of City Boy. Like that run with, there's a DC run called City Boy, and he's
I know the editor on that, for the writer, but I know the editor.
Yeah, and that one I enjoyed a lot, and that was the first time of me being introduced to Swamp Thing, and he seems so cool. So like,
he does.
like he seems like I can't really explain it other than that. He just has like a decent vibe to him. So I'm now interested in reading the rest of it.
Anthologies are really fun, and I'm just so grateful that DC continues to do them, because it's how you kind of prove yourself as a writer, because everybody can't get a one shot or a 6-issue miniseries or ongoing. So this is kind of where you kind of can build your skills, try things out, and again use this. I can go send it to IDW or send it to Boom and be like, hey, I'm still working. this is what I can do with a 10-pager. What's that one
Yeah.
shot? Like, what's that mini series look like? You know,
Yes.
I'm grateful that they're still doing anthologies.
Okay, I love that you're loving the anthology life, but I need you to lock in quick, okay? Because now that you're like in this DC lane, we need you to like keep pitching, because one of our biggest complaints is that we love a DC Power anthology, but we need some ongoing stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen The 1,000 Days?
I have, and I'm in an interesting position because I am
Wait,
one
hold
of
on. If it will mess with your bag to comment on that right now, okay.
I wouldn't dare say anything that would mess with that.
Okay.
What I mean by interesting position, because I am a fan just like you. I'm a reader just like both of you, and I enjoy our stories.
Yeah.
Me having a business background and being in business and things like that, I also know somewhat of numbers, right? And and we're in this weird place where, you know, we get a person of color miniseries and we enjoy it, but no one picks it up. So if no one picks it up, that affects the numbers for the next writer. So my rule of thumb is anything of color, DC or Marvel, I just pick up just off the rip, because those numbers are how they reflect. So let's say like Bree, you know, DC gave you a 5 or 6 issue series and you did gangbusters. Then they'd be like, oh, okay, we could probably give Keisha a minimum of 6 issues, you know, or, you know, thing like that. So like, that's why it's same thing with Marvel too. Like they look at the pre-sales, they look at how the books are doing. So to me, there's still, you know, we still very much, you know, there's not an ongoing person of color, you know, story at Marvel or DC, and those are the big two. So we want to make that happen. I do want to shout out Morgan Hampton because he's a Black man writing Green Lantern Corps, which is
we had him on the show.
Yeah.
in himself, in itself. But yeah, as far as DC, like we're trying to figure it out. I was this close to getting my own book for Steel. It was I wrote the they call them backups, but that's what you call like the prequel. But they gave it to Michael Dorn. Michael Dorn is Worf from Star Trek.
You did write that.
Yeah. So
okay, I'll say it off camera because
so it's like, you know, it's like if I had lost or the opportunity had gone to some other person in like, you know, Willacoochee, Georgia or something like that, no disrespect, some random place, like I might have felt away, but like Michael Dorn has done so much for Black cinema, Black sci-fi, all those things. It was an honor to write the chapters to launch his book. But yeah, me and DC, there are a few characters that I've identified, stories that I would like to tell, and they're aware of those characters, and they're aware that I have interest in those characters. And it's just waiting for the right opportunity or the next launching point. But they know, and I know, and DC, what I really want to say, they have some really great people. Like Jim Lee is so cool. Marie Javins is so cool. All the editors at DC, really good people, and they treat you like from my experience, I'm treated like a human being. And that's what I like, you know. So yeah, I definitely want a 6-issue series or ongoing series at DC. And I hope it will happen. If, you know, when it happens or it doesn't happen, I'm still working on my own things as well.
Period. Okay. You know, I'm gonna harass anybody who comes on the show because, you know, we have ulterior motives about these sort of things. But I also hear your point about like showing up for your pre-orders, which is one of my excuses for being a variant vixen. Like I've copped every Green Lantern variant because I have my girl Sojourner in it.
Yeah.
Mixed feelings about how the story was going at times and all that sort of thing, but like we show up around here, and that's part of what the show is doing. Like we try to encourage other people to do the same thing, and we're always preaching about pre-orders. So yeah, I hear you. But
if they give me a shot, y'all gonna be the first ones to know, and then we got to get all these 1,000-day people to like, yo, let's show up and buy, like let's show up and support.
Literally,
you know? that's got to be our game plan. And I know some people are gonna have the opposite side of the coin that say that we shouldn't have to, but we need our voices, we need our stories, and we do need to show up with our money. And if we do that, that will create more opportunities for other writers of color, women of color, and characters of color. So yeah, when we see that next announcement at Marvel and DC, we got to show up, and we'll go from there. So yeah, if something happens, y'all will be one of the first to know.
Yeah. Dang,
Okay.
I really wish you wrote the rest of that Steel book.
Her face.
I don't know why I forgot. There's a reason why I forgot.
Yeah.
Man.
You are doing so well. You are doing so well. Okay, so we're gonna stay on our best behavior in this instance. And we want to make sure we're being respectful of you and your time. So we want to hear from you, like, right now is the opportunity to shameless plug. Like, where can we find you? What are you working on? What's coming up next? What are some things that you've enjoyed reading that you think we should check out? Who are some other creators to support? Like, shameless plug all the way down.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a lot. As far as me, my Instagram, that's like, I'm not a big social media person, but Instagram is what I'm typically on. And that's Dorado.quick. That's my real name, first and last. People ask me all the time, like, real government name. That's what I would give it. And then my portfolio is DoradoQuickWrites.com. So that's everything from radio to TV, branded content, short films. Some films got premiered by Oprah. I got Super Bowl films with LeBron James. There's the Black Panther show with Michael B. Jordan. I got to do a Tulsa, Oklahoma story about Greenwood with Nas. That's probably one of my favorite short films. And you guys had those other guests prior, so that was like kind of cool that happened. But you guys, if you need a good laugh or a good cry, my portfolio has everything you need for a good laugh or a good cry. What else? Books that I'm always going to support indie creators. Tyler F. Martin at Godhood Comics. The Antagonist is something that he works really hard on. It's a fun read. Just a good guy. I even took some of his comic classes, in years past. He's a solid dude. Anthony Piper, truly gonna always shout out Anthony Piper. Not too many people can write as good as they can draw, and vice versa. And he does it as one of the best, and like giving us our features, our skin tones, our colors. He's phenomenal. What else? If you haven't read Bitter Root, please read Bitter Root. Bitter Root.
Yeah.
Not y'all, but with the chat, you know what I mean? Bitter Root. Bitter Root is phenomenal. Trying to think what else. Morgan Hampton, Green Lantern Corps. You gotta go read that. He's doing a phenomenal job. Stephanie Williams has at Ignition Press, she has Roots of Madness.
Yep.
I have that on my pull list. Stephanie Williams also has Temporal. I have Temporal on my list. I'm trying to think of any other people to shout out, books to read. What are y'all into? Like, I'm really good at, like, if you ask me something to read, that's what I'm really.
That's really interesting, because I was just thinking about that the other day. With prose, I'm very specific. It's mostly fantasy, sci-fi, all that.
Yeah.
But with comics, it can be anything. I find that very interesting.
I'm a big manga person too. Like, at the bottom of my shelf over here, I've got My Hero Academia, I've got Dragon Ball.
Hey,
yes.
Yeah,
so
hero. There's a huge influence on me. I'm trying to think of like anything else that's here. I really like Rogue Sun at Image Comics. It's a Ryan Parrott. It's like a high school bully that becomes a superhero. So it's like not the typical story.
Okay.
And seeing him wrestle with how he was a bully and a bad person, and he's still not a good person, but he's a hero, but he's got daddy issues and father issues. So
is that part of the Massive Verse with Radiant Black? Yeah.
I really like Rogue Sun, and like there's this black woman that is like, she's not the magical Negro. She's more like the spiritual guide, and like she kind of has like a jail of all the spirits and monsters that he has to stop, and she kind of facilitates and rehabs them if she can, and she's a really interesting character to me. And she has a niece, or yeah, I believe her niece comes in like volume 3, and she was an interesting character for like a good 6 issues. So I'm enjoying that. Yeah, like that's kind of like my recommendations and shout outs. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to shout out right now.
No, that's all good. Are you working on anything else currently?
Yes, so I'm working on an original graphic novel / manga. It's manga inspired. I'm debating on like if I'm gonna keep it traditional black and white, or if I'm gonna put it in color. There's something I like about the art of black and white and it being more true to manga style, but the subject matter of the book, I feel like it demands colored pages. So I can't tell y'all anything else about it other than I'm working on it. I've got all my main characters are all designed. The character sheets are phenomenal. I got the book cover this week and I'm making tweaks on that with the artist. Yeah, that's like it's about a young black girl. I'll let you guys know. That's another reason you guys will know. And I wanted to tell that story, and it's dear to my heart. It's inspired by some women in my life that I know that have, kind of like found themselves doing one thing and realize there's something else that they want to do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I'll shape it. Like for me, it's like I don't like when people like talk and hype up stuff and it never come out. Like it's some books I didn't fund it on Kickstarter and it's been 2-3 years and I ain't got it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. That's we know.
Yeah, and no disrespect. I know it's really hard to make books, even though I make a lot of books for DC and Boom Studios. Doing it yourself, I'm really seeing how difficult it is. Like, like there are cover artists, there are sequential artists, every letter is not the same, you know what I mean? So it is really hard. No disrespect to anybody that is taking time to produce their book. But for me, when I announce something, I want it to either be finished or like it be just waiting to print. So, but I am actively working on this manga inspired graphic novel. And it's something I've been passionate for a long time.
Period.
That is so
okay.
dope.
Yeah, we can definitely respect that. Have you thought about just doing like keeping it manga style where it's black and white, but then just doing like splash color, like one accent color?
I saw that the artist that is doing my book, he did that. And it was cool, but like I don't know if it's just me as like a human being. I feel like I'm either one or the other. Like you give it to me black and white, or you give it to me the most beautiful color. When you do like the one splash, like it's cool. But I guess like one thing that Tyler taught me about is that sometimes with indie comics, we'll do this get some really good artists for a beautiful cover of the book, but then the art on the inside does not match.
Yeah.
And you can do that when you're a Marvel or a DC because it's the whole variant cover system of, selling copies and stuff like that. But for the indie artists, people like us, you want to get that cover and you want it to match, you want it to feel the same. So that's where I try to look at the holistic package of like, what am I putting out into the world? And what's going to be the best product that I can afford to put out that doesn't bankrupt me, but also doesn't like limit the quality of the book, right? So, and then every artist doesn't want to color. Some artists color themselves. Some artists prefer a colorist. So it's working out those details. But I'm very excited. My goal is to have it around 200 pages. So I want it to kind of be a little thick. I look at the market and there's something special about a graphic novel or a manga you can pick up for $9-10 and it's hefty and you get to go through it versus sometimes American comics you get 5 issues of 22 pages, 6 issues of 22 pages, and it's thin and it's there, but it's like $16 or $20 for a TPB. So I want to make it affordable for us. Like I want anybody who has an interest in the subject matter of this book to have less excuses on why they can't get it or why their school can't get it or why somebody can't get it. Like, I'm trying to make it as accessible as I can. Yeah. And I think it goes back to, like, you know, a question you asked me at the beginning, Bree and Keisha, about like what got me into comics. Comics were, you know, $1, $2, and they kept me out of trouble. So this first project I put out, I really wanted to be of the best quality it can be and to be affordable for all ages. That's another thing. This book is all ages. Like, it's not going to be too kiddie. It's not going to be too adult. I think this is a book that you could sit down with your niece or your nephew, but you as an adult woman could have a tea and, you know, drink out. I think it'll be a story that we can all enjoy. And that's what I'm going for on this book.
Yes, yeah. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And like LT is saying, we definitely appreciate like learning more about the business side of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Anthony taught me a lot. Like I said, Anthony told me I was ugly and couldn't read good. So Anthony taught me a lot, you know? Because, you know, yeah, it's a lot, you know. And then also, like, you get into like paper quality and stuff like that. I'm not there yet in my process, but all these things like hardcover versus soft cover, like those are all things to talk about. But to me, it starts with the story, making sure I have a story that I'm passionate about, that I want to see all the way through, but also a story that the artists will want to see all the way through. You know, like that's 200 pages, you know, they have to draw, and you want them to be interesting. You don't ever want to get to a point where like doing it for a check or doing it to get it done, because you can feel it in the art. You know, you can feel good mistakes and bad mistake, but it's the passion when that person is drawing it that brings it to life, and it can be very beautiful. Like even in our cover, he did some things that he didn't tell me about. He's like, I wasn't even thinking about it. I just had this idea. Do you like it? I'm like, yeah, I like it. Like, that's a great idea. But like in our conversation, that wasn't part of the pitch, you know, but he threw something extra on there. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's what I like. Keep it. Like whatever brain path you got on to do that, keep that path. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
It's good that you're prioritizing that, but also keeping accessibility in mind, because we were talking about like with indies, we want to support all of our indie books too, because we're the ones telling the real stories. But it's also really tough when you got like you said, like 100-page trade paperback, and because it's indie, you're having to pay like $35-$40 for it.
Yeah, so, I bought some people's books for 40 and up for less than 40 pages. Yeah, at the time, money was good. Now let me support. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
But you know, when you do that, I feel like we owe it to our audience. Like, what's the dude's name? Oh man, the Grits and Eggs podcast.
Deontay.
He was talking about how, like, you know, how we treat our customers, how we treat them, and I think about that. I think about being a kid when I didn't have anything in my pocket. I think about now being an adult with a little bit of change here and there. Sometimes, like, I want someone to feel like they would have paid more for it versus they paid too much and it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. I'd rather have them like, this is only $10, this is only $15, I got all this. I'd rather have that than, damn, I spent $30 on this, $40 on this, and it was you know? So, and again, comics is hard. I don't ever want to put on anybody else's dreams or things like that, because anybody who's making something is doing something. Speaking of that, we've never met, but Danny J. Quick, we're no relation. We've never met. He has an ongoing comic book series. I need to shout him out. He's a good dude. We've never met in person, just conversations digitally, but he's a good dude where, you know, he does a good job of giving you bang for your buck, and like his covers matches interiors, or when there's a guest cover, it's not too far off. So shout out to Danny J. Quick as well.
Nice.
You just reminded me of Boondocks. He's like, no relation.
Oh, no relation. Stephanie just did a video with the voice actor.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Off camera, I'll do a good Uncle Ruckus impression for y'all. Not on camera though.
Period. Not you keeping the peak impersonation off the show, but we gotta respect.
He said that can't live forever.
that can't be on the internet somewhere when I'm trying to accept an award or something like that. And my auntie look at me like,
Yeah. And you will be doing that if you keep writing like that. You
Yeah.
definitely will be accepting lots of awards, and we're
I
gonna
like
be like, yeah, we had him on the
it.
show.
I like to put it like this: if it's in His will, I just want to be able to make a living and to create and to see my people and support my people. I will say, having 10 years in advertising, and they have this thing called Cannes Lions. It's like the Oscars of advertising. After
Yeah.
winning a bunch of those, like, life didn't change much emotionally.
Come on, casual flex.
Right.
But like, no, but it's like I'm having this conversation, especially with like Black men, and like, there's so much success that we have to have projected on us, and you reach for something, you get it, and then when you get it, nothing really changes. And it's like, all right, the value has to be internal. So that's what I'm working on as an artist, as a filmmaker, as a creator. Is like, if those things come, thank you, amen, I appreciate it. But if they don't come, that I make a good book for my audience, Black, white, whatever. Did I put my effort into it? Did I do my best? And can I sleep at night knowing I did my best? Because if you chase awards, like, it's what's the next thing you're gonna chase?
Right.
Like, so that's kind of where I want those things, I do, but I don't want to put a focus on those, and I don't get them, and then I'm not a happy human being. So yeah, if y'all want to put that on me and it happens, let me have it, let me take it. But me myself, I want to make the best story possible. Like right now, like, we're all rooting for Sinners, right? Like, we're all rooting for it. And some of us feel a certain way right now about some of the recent awards. That whole team made a film that's gonna be part of our lives and legacies for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And let's take that away. You can do history courses on Sinners. You could do music courses on Sinners. It's something that, every year on Halloween, we'll be talking about it, every year on Black History Month. To make something like that's going to stand the test of time is better than any award. But granted, we want them to win everything. But what that film means to our community and the world is so much more. And that's the type of art that I want to make, whether it's comedy, drama, whatever, just something that stands the test of time, that speaks to people, empowers them, encourages them, helps them navigate life, let go, live, love. That's what I want to focus on, that more than the awards. I know it's hard because I see the awards and I see the applications and I want them, but I want to try to make being the best storyteller a priority over the awards.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about the impact that comes from when people acknowledge that you should have gotten the award, because I feel like there's a lot more conversation around how impactful Sinners has been outside of the awards, which makes, I feel like people will be more loyal to the idea of whatever project comes from Ryan Coogler next, just off the strength of, we decided the value of this piece, not anybody else. And, we held it up accordingly. And I think that that's honorable, that, you're like humble about the idea of awards and whatever. And that you have integrity behind, your craft. But we still want you to win lots of awards.
And again, like, as long as I'm able, like, I love building relationships. So long as I got something coming out and I'm able, I want to make time to grow with y'all, grow y'all channel and be a part of it. And then, whoever I can help out with, let me know.
Period. We're going to hold you to that quick.
Yes.
Reasonable, reasonable things, Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, no, we really appreciate you taking the time to come through and share with us about your story and this upcoming anthology. If y'all haven't already pre-ordered it, make sure that you run and go cop that. It's coming out on the 28th. So you may still be able to do some pre-order depending on how your store does it. But if not, just make sure you're in there that first week that it drops, so that way you can support. And we'll definitely be talking about the anthology as a whole on Pink Riot. So you want to make sure that you've read it so you don't catch spoilers or strays. Shout out to you, Dorado, for coming through and showing love. We really appreciate you. You've been really cool from the beginning. And we can't wait to have you back for another episode. And we hope to run into you at San Diego Comic-Con again.
Yeah, me and Morgan trying to make our way back there again.
Period. Yeah, we're on that same mission. But yeah, thank you so much for coming through. And we can't wait to have you back, man.
Thank you
Yeah.
both. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Later.
All right.
Yay!
Yay!
Excellent
Oh,
show, iconic show, brilliant, great.
iconic.
What
Yeah.
can I say? No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
That was
No.
such a vibe. I love the intertwining theme between the guests that like we didn't even plan on. It just happened like that. You know, I love when we keep getting these signs that we're like on the right track with who we're associating ourselves with,
Oh,
who
for
we're
sure.
like celebrating and all that sort of thing. This was such a vibe. He's so cool. I
Yes.
love
He is.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Thank
I'm
you guys for coming through and celebrating these guests with us. We know that we kept you a little longer than what we planned, but we appreciate you coming through and dealing with our shenanigans and giving your energy in the chat. It wouldn't be the same without you. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you scroll up, scroll down, check out another one, you know, share it with a friend. If you don't have time to watch it, just let that thing play in the background. It's not hurting anybody, but it's helping us 100%. If you're not able to sit down and watch the episode, make sure that you check out our podcast. We're available on so many platforms, chief among them being Spotify. We would love for you to stream and drop any star ratings or give any feedback because we love learning from you guys what more you want to see from us. If you do have lots of ideas that you're just burning to share about what you want to see from us, the best way to do that is to sign up for our Patreon. Shout out to our Patreon subscribers. Every time a new one of you guys shows up, we literally do a little happy dance because we love building community and you guys make this so much of a better and empowering and enriching experience for us. Our Patreon has a free tier, so if you want to come through for the free 99, we got you. But the paid tiers go up incrementally, and the higher tier up you go, the more influence you have. So we'd love to see you over there in that space. Make sure you hit up our link in bio so you can cop some Pink Riot merch. You feel me? It's a vibe. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? We got lots of different colors, lots of different styles, all of the things. We're going to be putting out some new designs pretty soon. And if you want to be a part of that process, make sure that you're signed up for our Patreon. But we can't give you new merch until y'all show up and cop the current merch. So we'd love to see you over there. Make sure you like, share, follow, comment, subscribe on all US platforms. We love you down. And if you want to hang out with us like this again, just know we're going to be at the same damn place at the same damn time because we love you and we love what we do. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Later.
I definitely found more. All right, how many variants are there?
11.
Damn. Go ahead. No.